Fujifilm sells several retro-looking cameras, like the X-T5, the X-T4 before it, and the X-T3, as well as the X-T30. Nikon sells the ZF-C and is about to announce the Nikon ZF full-frame retro camera. Is Canon working on a cool, retro-looking EOS R6, R5, or even R7? Well then, stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. Doesn't cost you anything and really helps get this channel noticed and keeps you up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. At the photo imaging show earlier this month in Shanghai, China, Canon was asked, Canon has a lot of historic bodies, but do you have any plans or ideas to release a retro camera? As you can imagine, Canon was, well, how should we say, a little bit cryptic, but not as cryptic as they would normally be. In conclusion, I can't say yes or no, but as you say, some consumers are particularly fond of some of the best-selling models of the past, their design and appearance. Definitely sounds like the door's been left open, doesn't it? This is not your typical canned response. And as Canon Rumors said, if there's nothing to talk about, we normally get, it's not in our plans. If Canon had have said something like, it's not in our plans at this point, that means it's not something that's due to come out this fall, next spring, or even the following fall. It's not even on the roadmap. They're not thinking about it. They're not engineering in any way whatsoever. But Canon could have, well, stopped there, but they didn't. They went further. Some consumers are particularly fond of some of the best-selling models of the past, their design and appearance. As you can see, there's a lot to unpack in those two sentences. The first being is that they're not using corporate speak to say, hey, we're not working on this, it's not in our plans, leaving the door open. But then they go into speaking about how they're listening to their customers and how what their customers have to say, the feedback is very important, clearly letting you know that despite some comments out there saying that they don't listen to their customers, they do. But again, they could have stopped there, but they didn't. They went further and they said this. In addition, you can see that our EOS body, whether in appearance or operability, has been improved by listening to customer feedback and requests. We attach great importance, and pay attention here, great importance to the fact that there is a consumer base that wants a retro body. But it's a pity we don't have more information to tell you. For a company that is notorious for being vague at answering questions about upcoming or future products, Canon is saying quite a lot here, saying we attach great importance to the fact that there's a consumer base that wants a retro body, but it's a pity that we don't have more information to tell you. A pity, huh? A pity we don't have more information to tell you? This is very interesting. This is letting us know that, from what I've read here, and maybe you see things a little bit differently, but a retro style body coming from Canon, it's definitely on the way. It's definitely coming. It's not that they didn't have more information, it's that they didn't have more information to tell you. And everything they've said in these sentences indicates that a retro style body is underway. They didn't give us that canned phrase that says, yeah, we don't know what you're talking about, we're not working on this, it's not on our roadmap. Nothing like that. Instead, they went further talking about how they listen to their customers, and their customers are asking for a retro style body. They listen to their customers are asking for a retro style body, ergo, you know what that means, right? Yep, a retro style body is on the way. The only question is, what camera could we see come with a retro style body? Now, Canon Rumors in their article didn't address this, and I have an idea. I have an idea of what we could see where, in terms of a retro style body, and I've got 3 different ideas. Now, the most common, the most popular, the best-selling Canon camera in the last 3 years, well, it's been the Canon EOS R5. Now, I know what you're thinking. It wouldn't make sense to release a retro-designed camera of the R5 right now as we're getting ready to refresh the Canon EOS R6, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. And you're right, it doesn't. However, as we're getting ready for Canon to announce the EOS R5 Mark II, what about releasing a regular one and a retro-styled body? That could do very well. Or what about the Canon EOS R6 Mark II announcing a retro-style body of the EOS R6 Mark II? Wouldn't that do well? It's also it's a top-selling camera. It could do very well. And the other option I have for you is, What about the Canon EOS R7? Now, Canon could do several things here. They could just come out with a retro style body, or they could, well, I don't know, implement a BSI sensor into this camera and give it a retro look, maybe give it a little something else. I'm thinking of which Canon cameras sell the best. Again, the R5 and the R6 sell very, very well, but in the more affordable range, well, that's where I look at the R7. It's at the top end of most hobbyist affordability, but then we look at something like the Canon EOS R10, or even the R50. Now, doing the R50 in a retro style, I don't really see that coming. I don't see the sales numbers to justify that. I think this marketplace, it's all about modern. It's all about new. You see, for us older farts, we like that retro style body. As you can see right here, look, it's on my top shelf. It's the Fujimax. It's not a retro style camera at all. It is a retro camera. It's a film camera. And so I don't see these new modern cameras, or not modern cameras, I don't see these cameras that are primarily aimed at the young. I see them more as more professional level cameras or cameras aimed at hobbyists. And that's where I think the R10, the R7, maybe even the R8 could get a retro look. But the R5 and the R6, I think they're high candidates, high probability that we could see a retro design of them. Something similar to the Canon AE1. Do you remember that Canon? So what do you think? Am I completely nuts here? Am I reading into this something that isn't there? And the other question I have for you is, if you were to get a retro design camera coming from Canon, what do you think is most probable that Canon could deliver a retro style camera body in? And the other question, a follow-up to that one there. Oh, hold on a second. Let me check here. This could be some leaked information. Hello? Yes? The Canon EOS, sorry about that, just got some information coming in. But the question for you is, what would you like to see? What camera would you like to see with a retro look? Or do you think this is all silliness and who cares anyways? It's just a shell, a skin, and just give me a good camera. Give me the R5 Mark II, the R1, or something else. Or third-party lenses. But this video is not about third-party lenses. I'm not going to get into that. It's also not about that IBIS wobble. And Canon, if you're watching, come on, get rid of that stupid IBIS wobble. Anything below about 35 millimeters, it's frustrating. So much so now that when I go out and shoot on my 24 to 105, it's a 35 to 105. I don't go down to 24 millimeters even when I need to. It's annoying. It's frustrating. Fix it in a firmware update for the Canon EOS R5 and fix it in the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. If you want to stay up to date on all the latest camera gear news and rumors, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I also recommend choosing all notifications so that way you'll get notified when I publish a new video so you can stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors for all major camera brands. However, I also recommend following me on, I'm trying to remember, it's Twitter, it's X. Following me on X, formerly known as Twitter, because all those news stories and rumor stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, pricing information, pre-order availability, that sort of stuff gets tweeted out or X'd out. That doesn't sound right, does it? X'd out, because when you X something out, you're crossing it out, right? Goes back to the old typewriter days. So anyhow, back to Twitter. If you go ahead and follow me on Twitter or X, then whenever I publish a new video, I tweet that out, usually within 10 minutes after the video coming out. But I also tweet out all sorts of news and rumors regarding all brands, all major and minor news and rumors, as well as pricing information. And the fact that you're still sticking around shows that you're interested in content from this channel. So if you're interested in helping this channel out to help fund new projects, what I recommend is if you're planning, and this is only if you're planning on purchasing gear from Adorama or B&H, just use my affiliate links down below. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but I get anywhere from 2 to 6% back, which helps fund new camera purchases like the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the Canon EOS R1, and hopefully late next year in the second half, it can start funding me moving into Nikon and Sony cameras. So instead of just shooting with Canon, I can start shooting with cameras such as the Nikon Z6 Mark III if it's out, or the Nikon Z8, or even the Sony A1 Mark II, sorry, the A1 II, the A9 III, or I might even pick up the A7 IV, top-selling camera. That camera sells so very well. I got to figure out what's in it, why everybody loves it so much, and the only way to do that is to shoot with these cameras day in and day out. Not to have them for 3 or 4 days and then put out a video. No, to live with them. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.